Crypto kids, markets are crashing. They are crashing because of the T word. So the T word is back. We have tariffs once again. And honestly, I'm quite surprised that these tariffs are still a relevant thing that are causing large movements in the market. I'm surprised. But we have more tariffs, and that's why markets are dumping. Now, 2-3 videos ago, we predicted that there would be some sort of a dump before pump in the markets, and that's what's happened exactly with the Bitcoin analysis. We came down to levels that we expected with Ethereum too. But the thing is, when these tariffs came out of nowhere, or the suggestion that there's going to be more tariffs out of nowhere, we will go into the details in a few minutes time. The markets dumped more so than what we should have. With such black swan slash, bad news events. So we're going to cover where I think the markets can dump all the way towards what this new China tariff situation is. And we'll go into some of the altcoins that you guys would want me to go into in case you're worried about specific levels. So with that said, let's go over what today entails for the cryptocurrency market and the stock market. So talking about the stock market today is actually we're on pace to create the worst day in the S&P 500 since April. What happened in April? So this is the April stock market price action. What took place here? Why did we see such a vigorous dump in the stock market? Well, we saw this dump simply because of the T word. The T word was what caused a dump in the stock market. All right. So look, if you go to Grok and you ask Grok what happened between April the 3rd and April the 5th, which is the range of that, the worst day we've seen since today, right? April 3rd to 5th was the worst few days that we've seen in the stock market. If you ask Grok, what was the stock market news? What happened in terms of events during that time period? Grok tells you the period from 3 to 5th of April marked the onset of the 2025 stock market crash, triggered primarily by President Donald Trump's announcement of sweeping Liberation Day tariffs, a 10% minimum tariff on nearly all U.S. imports effective from April the 5th. These measures escalated global trade tensions, and the stock market experienced quite the drop. Now, April the 5th was the implementation of these tariffs. Look at April the 5th. That was the bottom for the stock market. So looking at recent history from our experience with these tariffs, we can tell that tariffs have been a good buying opportunity. Tariffs have been a good buying opportunity. We don't even have the announcement of new tariffs. People are just scared from what President Trump posted on Truth Social. He canceled his meeting with President Xi Jinping, which was going to happen in South Korea in 2 weeks' time. And he's talking about the precious metals export control that allegedly China is going to do. And because they're going to be allegedly doing this, America has to counter with economic implications. And today, in approximately 1 hour, 15 minutes time, and then 3 hour, 15 minutes time, President Trump is expected to go ahead and speak. He's expected to go ahead and speak and deliver a speech to the open press, one in the White House as he's arriving to the White House, and two in the Oval Office. So these speeches will reveal exactly if he's going to be implementing more tariffs, if there is going to be any sort of economic implication. That will provide the markets clarity. That's taking place in 1 hour, 15 minutes time and 3 hours, 15 minutes time. I'm going to be updating you guys on the Telegram community and on Twitter if there are anything mentioned that's important, that's going to change markets drastically, that we will talk about on the Telegram community and Twitter. If there is something crazy, then we will make another update video here on this channel. So make sure that you're subscribed, make sure that you destroy the like button, and make sure you have the notification bell on in the event that there is something crazier than what we expect. But how to brace ourselves? How to brace ourselves for the market? Well, as I told you, the tariff events, the tariff FUDs are always great buy the dip opportunities. I obviously just made a video on this channel talking about the technical analysis, but we can go over it once more and talk about specifically how to prepare for potential tariff news or potential economical countermeasures from President Trump. Look, we had the MRI top. We expected a drop on Bitcoin. We've said 2 videos ago that if we want to continue hitting new all-time highs, then we have to see Bitcoin breaking above the $124,000 level with a weekly candle close to then see brand new more parabolic all-time highs. But until that happens, even the CME gap closure at $111,000 is still a probability. And I think it is not wise to ignore the CME gap given they have a closure percentage of 95%. But until the CME gap, we still do have some very good support on the price action. $117,165 is great support from the prior W formation, the neckline that we created. It's also the midst of the range, right? In the video that I uploaded, I said $18.2 to $19,000 is also a good level. It is, because the $19,000 is basically the value area high from the volume profile. That's the $19,000 area. And then you have $18.2 to $18,000 being the Fibonacci 0.382, right? So that's also a good level. The 18.2 to the $19,000 price range, that's a good level for Bitcoin to try and hold. But it looks like we're breaching past that. And it appears as though that Bitcoin wants to find the 17.1 level. Great support from the July price action, great support from the August price action, great support, well, resistance from the W formation that we predicted here on this channel too. So I think 17.1 is going to be the foundational level that Bitcoin wants to correct towards, and then we make a decision on which way we will end up going to following what President Trump announces at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time today. So that is the level that I would be closely watching. It is the middle of the channel range. If you see it get broken to the downside, then unfortunately, the $11,000 Bitcoin CME gap is where I would be looking for Bitcoin to head towards. Remember, throughout the entirety of this rally, I told you that the CME gap is obviously a probability, but the only thing that I would be doing as a precautionary step is making sure that if I'm in any long position, that my liquidation is below that CME gap. So if I'm in long positions, which obviously the trend is bullish and I'm overall bullish on Bitcoin, whilst being in long positions, the precautionary step to have is to make sure that liquidation prices are below the CME gap in the event that Bitcoin comes down to it. So that's what I'm going to repeat. If you're in any long positions, I would try to consider looking at the risk management. Obviously, nothing in this stream/video is financial advice, but I would try to make sure that any sort of long position I have, the liquidation is below the Bitcoin CME gap, which is currently at $111,000. 117.1, super important. If we see a bounce, great. If we don't, then $111,000 is going to be the target. That is the CME gap closure, and that is the essence for Bitcoin. The S&P is also experiencing quite a vigorous drop, but I need to reemphasize, these tariffs are always great buy the dip opportunities. We're in Q4, the most profitable quarter for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Any chance we see to buy the dip, I think should be taken into consideration very seriously. And that is what I'm going to be doing during this dip, specifically for Ethereum. Look at Ethereum, daily time frame, very nice bull flag, incredibly nice bull flag. I think we're going to see a correction, most likely towards the support of this bull flag, which is currently sitting at $3,800. At $3,800, we have also very good support from the famous bull and bear market support band on the weekly time frame. Let's have a look at the bull and bear market support band. Bull and bear market support band. On the weekly time frame, $3,800 is where the bull and bear market support band is, coinciding very nicely with the bull flag support line. If you go into the prior cycle in October, the price of Ethereum goes down to the bull and bear market support band and experiences a drastic rally to the upside in Q4. I think we're going to see a similar situation. I think we're going to find support there. And as soon as Ethereum is able to break above 4.8K with a confirmation weekly candle above it, we will head towards our, in my opinion, projected level of $8,000. We're super bullish on Ethereum. We will follow Bitcoin in my personal technical analysis. I think we will go and follow that Bitcoin correlation, reach the targets of the bullish pennant, and experience altcoin season when Ethereum goes into those very nice ranges of $7.5 to $8,000. One more thing to add, when Ethereum, or if Ethereum corrects, so I think it will happen, at 3.8, it's also the support line of the prior resistance of the bullish pennant that was forming for Ethereum. Also, another reason for why 3.8 is a phenomenal level for Ethereum to come down to and potentially find support at. So if you want to be opening limits long positions at 3.8, I think going to weeks, clicking this link to potentially open limit orders could be a nice way of taking opportunity of the current dip slash crash that we're seeing in the markets. And with that link, you can also join the trading competition that we have on weeks. By clicking the sign up button, you can create your account if you don't have a weeks account yet. When you do create your weeks account, you can click the register button. This button will change to register now, and you can join the trading competition where so many people have earned so many prizes from just doing some trades whilst being registered to the trading competition. Today, we will be giving away, for the first position, the highest trading volume individual will receive 200 USDT worth in Aster coin. Well, let's see. I mean, this was when the price of one Aster was at $2. So you're going to be receiving 100 Aster if you are the winner. The second place with the second highest trading volume will receive 50 Aster. Third place will receive 25 Aster. And then you have rewards for ranks 4 to 6, 7 to 10, and even 10 random lucky people winning 2 Aster. So make sure to sign up to weeks if you want to open those limit orders. That's where I've been doing my trading for the past 10 months, and I'm very, very happy. We've been buying Ethereum since 1.5, 1.6, 2.2, 2.5, $3,000. And by this link, with this link specifically, you can join the trading competition to get a chance of winning all or those trading prizes based off of which position you are placed in the trading volume ranking. That's Ethereum. I think we can come down to the bull flag support, but overall, I'm super bullish. I think the macro is fantastic, and I'm taking this opportunity to buy the dip as much as possible. When we go into precious metals, obviously this current tariff slash economical implications, they will affect precious metals the most. Precious metals are going to be affected the most. We can see that on the gold price action, we have a fourth MRI top. I think it's very, very fair to expect a 1 to 4 candle correction on gold. If we see a correction on gold, we could see liquidity flowing from gold into Bitcoin, which is great news. Silver, even though I'm very, very bullish on silver in the long term, I think silver is about to approach a top, or we experience also a 1 to 4 candle correction. This is relevant to any people that are holding gold and silver. I know probably most of you aren't, but I think it's important to include this into our analysis as well, given the fact that we have a fourth MRI top, which doesn't happen ever usually, and almost always a fourth MRI top is going to cause a pretty strong rejection, could be 1 to 4 candle corrections of a move to the downside. That's at least what I would be expecting. Is silver soon going to print its MRI top, the second MRI top, in the next candle, and I think that will also cause a 1 to 4 candle correction. But all eyes are on what President Trump is going to be saying at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time today. I'm just, keeping my positions as is. I think the 17.165 level is the level to be watching for Bitcoin on the intermediate term. For Ethereum, I think 3.8 is likely. So that's what I'm expecting for the two largest cryptocurrencies in the world. When it goes to the other smaller cap altcoins, AVAX, I think we can come down to the $24 level. We've been predicting the bear flag on AVAX very nicely. The target is $24.2. I think we're going to come down to it. I do have a pretty good expectation that that's going to happen. If you want to run an AVAX spot to buy the dip, on the previous video, I shouted out the AVAX spot I have on Pinex. Make sure to watch the previous video to see the details of the AVAX spot. And if you want to sign up to Pinex with this specific link, when you deposit $100, you will get a $100 bonus to try out those trading bots. What other altcoin do we have? Solana was one that we predicted would experience a drop. We had the triple top situation. 213 was the target, but now I would be looking very closely at the $200 mark for Solana. There is a huge line of support for Solana at $200. $200 is what I would be looking at to find support. Will we see a break to the downside? Time will tell, but for now, $200 is the level that I'm expecting for the price action of Solana. AVAX, we went into SUI, another one that had a triple top situation, but just like Solana, it is super, super, super bullish on the long term. So let's go to SUI USDT. SUI USDT, our target for SUI was the 3.2 to the 3.3 area, which we've hit beautifully I think there's a chance we can correct all the way to $3.4, which is the support line of this bull flag. But I want to show you something. For SUI, it's incredible. Every single time SUI creates a bull flag like this one, as soon as we break above the resistance, we always end up going to the upside. And not only do we have a pending bull flag breakout, we also have a huge bullish pennant simultaneously. So SUI, I think in the next few months, could be easily trading at $5. And whatever dumpage we experience, even if it's to the 3.05 level, I'm going to be buying the dip on SUI. So guys and girls, those are the altcoins that I have my eyes on. That is the analysis that I'm looking at. And it's super important to stay tuned to see what's going to happen during the speeches that President Trump is going to give in a very short period of time, in 1 hour and also in 2 hours time. I'm going to be updating you on the free Crypto Kids Telegram community, which you can join using this link, and also follow me on Twitter for those updates that are urgent and news oriented. Will this be similar to the March crash? Okay, that's a good question. That's when we experienced the beginning of the tariff situation. Look, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be at the same sort of magnitude. I really don't believe that's the case. When we had the tariffs happening in Q1, Q2 of this year, obviously tariffs were a new and scary economic weapon that Trump had access to, and people were a little bit scared on how he was going to use it, and they were not sure. But now we have a very good understanding that President Trump likes to use tariffs as a form of negotiation. So I think there is less to be worried about, less to be scared about. I think this dump can continue to the levels that I spoke to you about. Bitcoin, the CME gap, Ethereum 3.8. But anything beyond that, I personally think is improbable. What's the fear and greed? The fear and greed. Let's have a look at the fear and greed. Fear and greed index. Fear and greed index. It should be around the neutral level. So the next update is going to be in 5 hours and 55 minutes time. So there is still some good amount of time duration before we get the updated fear and greed index. But my breakdown from current price action would be that we're at neutral. But guys and girls, I'm going to end off the stream right now so that, again, people can watch this stream as a video as soon as it's done. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this emergency live stream. Let's see what President Trump has to say. And according to what he says, I will share any updates that are necessary over on Twitter and the Telegram community. Take care, guys. And as always, bye-bye.